Beauty seekers, the clean sunscreen in your bag, on your shelf, or in your shopping cart may not be clean at all. It may say mineral on the front, which is good. Mrs. Sunscreen taught us that a mineral sunscreen sits on top of your skin like a barrier and truly protects you from sun damage. But when you turn that bottle over, there may be a chemical ingredient that the FDA has shown soaks through your skin and into your blood. Today, Mrs. Sunscreen shows us the exact ingredients to look for so that you can make an informed decision about the risk you may be taking when you put sunscreen on your body. And stay with us to learn a simple, SAFE Sunscreen Scan. We developed 4 simple questions you can ask yourself to know if your sun protection is truly protecting your skin or not. Stay with us. Bree, picture me in the sunscreen aisle, holding a green bottle in one hand and a yellow one in another, choosing by which, frankly, looks prettier. I'm a former marketing pro and I'm heavily influenced by beautiful packaging. When you pick up a sunscreen and read it now, what are you looking for that someone like me might have no idea to check?
Well, I don't think you're alone in any of this. I was a PA, and when my daughter had a horrible allergic reaction to a very popular sunscreen, I had no idea that it was even the sunscreen. I mean, I put it on her skin a week later because I thought maybe she was allergic to the strawberries or the icing in her cake at the cake smash when she had this horrible reaction. And so I I didn't know either. And I was practicing medicine for a very long time and I had no idea. So you're not alone in this. And I don't think anyone needs to feel embarrassed or ashamed that they don't know about it. I think marketing is designed to help us uh, make a purchase. And there are some people who are really, really good at that. They're very good at marketing and design. And there are some sunscreen companies that I look at their design and think, wow, it's so beautiful. And I know that inside is a product now I know is I would never put on my kids. But from the outside, the packaging is so good. And I have been swayed by that for many years myself. What we know now, what I know now that I'd like to share with everybody listening is that the front of the bottle does not have to tell the story of what are in the ingredients. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of sunscreens on the market, and the latest research I did showed about 96% of mainstream sunscreens on the market today that claim to be mineral. But if you flip the bottle over, and there's two places to look, I don't know how many people will be hearing this or seeing this, but on the top of an ingredient deck, which is that black square that is required by the FDA to be on your bottle, on the back of that bottle, the very top one underneath drug facts says active ingredients. That's where you're going to find either a mineral filter like zinc or titanium, or the chemical filters like avobenzone, oxybenzone, all those, or a combination of those things. Sometimes they're a mix of those kind of filters in the active ingredient list. That is just one part of the story. If you then go down underneath everything else, underneath uses, warning, directions, other information at the very bottom that no one ever looks at, no one's ever even thought to look at, is this inactive ingredient box. And within that box is everything else that actually makes up the formula of your sunscreen. This is everything that you're putting on your skin that has the potential to be absorbed into the largest organ of your body and affect many different body systems that you have. So when it says mineral on the front, when you flip it over, you have to make sure it has zinc or titanium only. Then in the inactive ingredient deck, what we're looking for are UV chemical filters or boosters listed here. It's a UV chemical booster. And the most common one is a butyl octyl salicylate. This is a big long word that people don't memorize very easily, but butyl octyl salicylate, I call it BS because it is BS. And what it is, it's a UV chemical booster that is identical to a UV chemical filter in the body. And the reason that sunscreen companies use it is because it's a filter. It boosts the SPF so that they'll hit their SPF numbers at laboratory testing. And it makes it feel like a UV chemical sunscreen, which is thinner and more watery and lighter, and because it's absorbing into your skin the way that a UV chemical filter would. It makes the formulation feel more elegant, which is why formulators have been using it and companies have been using it for decades, because you can say mineral on the front and people think, oh, I'm buying a mineral sunscreen. But one of the ones I picked up yesterday had 2% zinc, which means it is a chemical sunscreen, but it was claiming mineral all over the front. And I'm like, 2%? Ours has 20% zinc oxide. Theirs has 2%. So the formulation between ours at 20% and theirs at 2%, not the same. So when you're looking for percentages of mineral, anything less than 20%, I don't believe, in my experience formulating sunscreen for the last 4 years, they're able to hit an SPF of 30 or higher with less than 20% zinc. Maybe 15%, maybe, but it's stretching it. So anything less than 15% zinc, I would never even touch, because even with that, you always have to make sure there's no filter here, but they're not hitting their SPF numbers without boosters.
Wow.
It's very confusing and technical. I don't know how to explain it in a more interesting, simple way. I don't know.
It is, and it is, and so that's why I think, when we go to the shelves, we think, oh, mineral sunscreen, which I didn't even know until recently mineral needed to be on the label, and that was good. I just thought sunscreen. Oh, reef safe. It must be
right?
good.
And reef safe, again, this is another one of those workarounds that, like, even if the front of the bottle says 100% mineral, it can still have UV chemical boosters, even if it says 100% mineral, which is so crazy to me that the FDA has allowed this loophole to stand for so long. And I wish that they would jump in and take some accountability and make some transparency of companies required to say, okay, this is actually a hybrid sunscreen. There are many people that are fine using a UV chemical filter, and that's great. But there are some people out there, like myself, and probably many of the people listening, that are not comfortable with that. They're looking for a true mineral sunscreen without UV chemical boosters in it. And if it says 100% mineral on the front, consumers are going to assume this is a mineral sunscreen when it is not. And it is such a loophole that the FDA has allowed for so many years. I can't believe that they've allowed it. And I would challenge them to make these regulatory changes so that there's transparency in our sunscreen, so people know if they're buying a true mineral or a hybrid or a UV chemical sunscreen. People should be able to choose. And if we don't have that obvious for people, it's very difficult for them to sit there and analyze this at the grocery store with a 2-year-old screaming in their cart, right? It just isn't the reality for people.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're educated enough to know, and you don't have your glasses with you, you can't even read the inactive ingredients.
Yeah. And there's so many UV chemical filters, boosters, aside from butyl salicylate. There's a whole list of them to include. I'll say this. There's a couple of apps that can help people in this category so that you don't have to remember these names. My favorite one is called Switch Natural. It's a paid app. I don't have any skin in this game. I don't own Switch Natural. I don't get paid for promoting it in any way, shape, or form. I just really love the app. And you can take a picture on the app of the back of anything but of a sunscreen bottle, and it will tell you if it has boosters in it or not. It'll tell you if it is considered a truly clean, not a greenwash clean, but a clean product. And I really love the app Switch Natural. So I would encourage people to download that onto your phone. There are other ones, like the Yucca or the Yucca app. I don't know how familiar you are with that app. And that one is free. You on that one, you scan a barcode. So the issue with that one for me is, one, I don't always agree with some of the ways that they differentiate safe or not. But two, companies are constantly changing their ingredient deck. And sometimes the barcode doesn't get updated to match. So an old formulation could be without a booster filter, but then the new formulation has it, and you don't know that because they haven't updated their barcode and their ingredients. So I love Switch Natural because it's real time and it's showing you that here's the ingredients. Tell me if it's clean or not what's registered through the barcode. So I really appreciate that app. It's been a really good one for my community, for my home. Is I'm trying to now, moving on from sunscreen, I'm trying to look at all my things like hairspray and shampoo and conditioner and makeup. And my 11-year-old wants to start wearing makeup. So we go into Sephora and I'm like, there's 2 things I'll let you get in here that are I don't have issues with. I mean, there's hardly anything in that store that I will allow her to get, but that app has been really helpful in helping me decide and choose.
That's so interesting because, yes, I did that research back in the day about which makeup at Sephora I could wear that was the most natural and organic. And here I am clueless about sunscreen.
Well, yeah, now you know better.
I know. I'm so happy. It was serendipity that you came to me. Breelyn Vanleeuwen, who goes by Bree and is known as Mrs. Sunscreen, spent 15 years in medicine before she even formulated a sunscreen product. And when she couldn't find a truly clean sunscreen for her own kids, well, she did what we'd all do. We hire a cosmetic chemist and spent 4 years building her own line, Daily Shade, from scratch. And thank you for doing that. Bree, welcome back to Beauty Seek.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. According to Newsweek, the number of cosmetic ingredients banned in the US is about 11. And so I would guess that like Europe and the rest of the world ban roughly the same amount of cosmetic ingredients. Scale of 1 to 10. How true is that?
Can we go into the negatives? Can we go into like negative a million on this one? Yeah, Europe has banned 1,700 ingredients and adding to that on a regular basis. We have banned 11, which kind of makes you a little sick to your stomach. It makes you feel like no one is looking out for my family. No one is looking out for me. No one is looking out for what I'm purchasing. 1,700 ingredients have been banned in the EU and only 11 have been banned here.
Okay. That is, yes, motivation to read the ingredients and have an app that will scan it. That is shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and some of the ingredients, they're almost masked by the name of them. Like when I scan an ingredient list and I see the word fragrance, sometimes I think, oh, it's fragrance. Lovely. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
1 to 10. How safe is it to assume the word fragrance on a label is just like one harmless ingredient?
A 0. I never choose something that just says fragrance on it anymore. I didn't used to be this way, and I'm slowly turning into this crunchy mom. Fragrance is a very tricky word. Fragrance in and of itself doesn't mean that the product is unsafe, because fragrance is just a big umbrella term that means the company doesn't have to report what makes up their fragrance, because that would share their proprietary blend. And so they said, okay, just put fragrance, and that way we don't have to have, all your proprietary information out there. Well, what that's done is it's created a bunch of question marks that I don't know what that word fragrance is encompassing. I don't know what's living underneath that. And there are certain chemicals within this fragrance category that are known to be endocrine disruptors. There are certain ones that are known, like the musks. The heavy musks is sort of the big one there that really do interrupt the way that our body functions, the way that it is supposed to naturally do its job. And never in a time in this country have people been more unhealthy. Never have I seen people have, and especially young people, have major weight issues, health issues, adults the same. It's unbelievable how unhealthy we are when we have so much available to us. And so the last 10 years especially, I have really rethought the way that I am purchasing and my purchasing behavior. And fragrance is one of those for me that is a big red flag. And it always makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, where I'm like, oh, that's a no. If they can't report how they're creating these fragrances, if they're not reporting exactly what's making these up, it's a hard no for me. So fragrance is a no, especially in a product that's a daily wear. So for our product at Daily Shade, when we were creating this daily wear sunscreen, fragrance is one of the biggest allergens out there, especially for children. Anytime someone's having an eczema flare or some kind of allergic reaction, one of the first things you check is the fragrance. So we wanted to eliminate that allergic contact dermatitis potential completely, but then also the question marks of really what does this lead to? If it was questionable, we took it out. I mean, even dimethicone, which I actually feel comfortable using dimethicone, but there's a camp of people who don't feel comfortable using dimethicone. And I knew that there was this camp of people, and I said, take it out. If there's a question mark around the safety of the ingredient, we removed it. So we chose to stick to the EU standard of 1,700, and I will say plus, because we took it a little step further than even the EU. And we chose to keep all of those ingredients out of every single formula that we've created, which is a real challenge. I mean, there are reasons why people and companies use these ingredients that are not banned here, because they are inexpensive, easily accessible. They make your product feel like $1 million. I get it, but it wasn't worth the safety and efficacy of my formulation that I was creating for my family. So yeah, it's a big conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for creating a product, and with dedicated to protect people like me. I really appreciate that because I know that's a lot of work.
It is,
Um,
and it was really for my kids. Like, I made it because I couldn't find what I needed for my family, and I couldn't believe that in that the year that we were in, it was in 2020, back when all of this began for me. I couldn't believe that I couldn't find what I needed for my family in a time when there were, huge advances in technology. I couldn't find a sunscreen that had ingredients that I felt great about putting on my kid and didn't make them look like they had diaper rash cream slathered all over their body. I just couldn't believe it wasn't a thing. And I made it for my family. So every product that I put out there, the benchmark is, would I put this on my kid or not? And if there's a question mark, or if there's any kind of, it's a no, right? Like, unless it's a hard, yes, this is 100%, I feel great about this, then we don't include it. And that's based on data and analysis and all of the scientific studies that we go into. But we did stick to the EU regulatory guidelines, and it was difficult and hard. And I can see why companies don't do that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I can understand that just for ease in the supply chain and so
Hmm.
forth. But no, this is going on human bodies.
Right.
You encouraged me to do a little deeper research after we last met, and I found a 2020 study published in JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association. Some sunscreen ingredients pass through the skin, as we've discussed, and
Yeah.
have been then found in people's blood and breast milk, as you've said. One of those ingredients is banned in Hawaii for killing coral reefs. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you ever be? And I think I know the answer, but to ever put an ingredient like that in your sunscreen line, Daily Shade?
Oh, zero. Yeah, we're never going to include that. Even the new UV chemical filter that everybody's raving about, that will never be part of the Daily Shade story, because we are purely zinc. That's all we use in our active ingredient deck, and we do not use UV chemical boosters ever. But the reef safe thing, that's one of those that I don't know, the efficacy and the validity of reef safe has some question marks around it for me. And I don't think that it's been fully proven out what is reef safe and what is not reef safe. So that really does need more research and more examining to determine that. For example, if they're going to put into a camp and say, well, this UV chemical filter camp is not allowed here, but they aren't banning the UV chemical booster that does the exact same thing, I think it's just because the research hasn't been completed and done to fully say that it's reef safe or not reef safe. So in theory, zinc sunscreen or mineral sunscreen is considered reef safe based upon the Hawaii Safety Active sunscreens. And so, yes, ours falls into that category of what they currently have is reef safe. But I personally have a lot of question marks around that, where I would like to see some more data and research and literature really supporting it. So yes, ours is considered reef safe, and it's really reef safe because it doesn't have UV chemical boosters in it. But I think some of the sunscreens that I see getting around that and making its way into Hawaii, because I just went to Hawaii for a few weeks a couple months ago and went into Costco to just see what was available for people to purchase. And the ingredients that that are allowed to be in there, I'm like, man, I don't think we see the full picture yet. I don't think we understand really what is affecting the coral reef, because we're only banning a couple of ingredients, where I think it should be spread out a lot larger to a lot of other ingredients that also shouldn't be included. So at the limited amount of research that we have, yes, ours is considered reef safe, but I think it's a much bigger picture that we're not seeing everything on right now.
Okay, that's good to know. Reef safe might not be completely reef safe. We just don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
We
we
don't have
just
the
don't
data.
know. Yeah, we don't have the data, so I hate to speak to that in a firm, sure way, because we just don't have the data to know.
Okay. Well, since we're on zinc, confession, I mean, I must have bought zinc sunscreen, not even knowing that it was a good thing for me. But I always forget how thick it is. So I spray it on my
Oh,
face and I'm like, oh, it's that thing with the white polka dots and
oh.
you can't get it off. So I dab it in and there's a mess everywhere. And I even went to my hairstylist maybe a day or two later. And she's like, oh, you have white
Residue.
paint on your on your skin, and I'm an artist as well, so I was like, oh, gee, I got to remember, don't get the zinc. It's kind of what was in my head.
Right.
So 1 to 10, how comfortable could a beauty seeker like me feel wearing a modern zinc sunscreen to a special event like a summer wedding and still look beautiful, not cakey and spotty or ghostly?
Oh, 10 out of 10. You just have to find the right company and the right formulation for you. Look, mineral sunscreen has come such a long way from where it was back in the 80s, right? With the traditional surfer zinc stripe down the nose. It isn't that way anymore. Are there still formulas that look like that? Yes. There are still formulas, and those are the ones that I was using on my daughter before I made my own, trying to find something. And that was, I guess, the biggest complaint is I was like, oh my goodness, there is really, especially with children, very limited options of what I can use for my child that meets this ingredient profile that is important to me and my family and doesn't make her look like a white little ghost. But is it impossible? No. That is one of the biggest things that we fixed is we created a aesthetically pleasing, lightweight, water-based formula that disappears on the skin like magic. But the water-based part is one that I want to touch on because a lot of the natural mineral sunscreens out there are oil-based, which means they feel heavy and greasy and oily. And a lot of those contain tallow. We don't believe in using tallow in our product. I just don't know where we started putting beef fat on our face for a good thing. Like, I don't know where that started, who came up with it, and I can't believe it's even a beauty trend. But there's a lot of the sunscreens out there that are, have tallow in them that are oil-based product, which makes them feel like a stick of butter on your skin, right? Ours is water-based, which is the real challenge with our formulation, which is probably the biggest singular hurdle that we overcame during those 4 years of formulation, is that we were just kept told over and over again, like, this, you can't make a natural mineral sunscreen water-based without a booster. It just isn't done. And we were told that for 4 years until we did it, right? Until we figured it out, like, oh, turns out you can. It's hard. And there's challenges with it, but it turns out you can do it. It can be done. And we did do that. And I'm not the only one on the market. I haven't, invented something completely new, but it isn't done well very often. It's not done well very often. And we do it well, but it's not done well very often. Is it possible? 10 out of 10. Is it easy to find? No, 0 out of 10. Not easy. 1 out of 10, maybe. Not easy to find, but possible to create one and find a formula that is like that.
Yeah, I think that would be needed. I would love to have something that I could just put on under my makeup every morning.
Yeah, that's what I do every day. Put it on under my makeup every single day.
Well, and you have amazing skin, girl. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love that. You also taught me that tinted sunscreens, which now I open my drawer, I'm like, okay, put on my tinted sunscreen. Bree taught me. They get their color from an ingredient called mica. And when you were building Daily Shade, you looked deeply into the supply chain to check where every ingredient in your line comes from. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you find out about mica?
I was so naive to where ingredients came from prior to this. I had never thought about owning my own business or starting a product line or talking about where products come from or sourcing of anything. I've never, it was so new to me. And I can't explain to you the amount of shock that I had discovering where products come from and some of the places and supply chains that happen with those products were absolutely shocking to my system. The biggest shock was the mica for sure. We get our coloration from iron oxides, and then, this mica is an ingredient that helps it look awesome. And actually mica is in so many of your products. And I'm talking from car, parts of your car are made with mica, to the glittery, beautiful foundation that goes on top of your eyelid has mica in it. It's in a huge aspect of our life. We use it all of the time. And never one time did I think about where is this being sourced from? And what we found is that there are mica farms that, and this is affecting thousands, tens of thousands of people that are working these little tiny small children. And this is a real thing. You can go and Google this and look at videos. And, I think NBC did a big expose on it back in 2019, but you can go watch these videos where there's just thousands of children who spend their every waking day, sun up to sundown, in the heat, being strapped onto their mother's back, going down into these mines and chipping mica off the walls, then coming up and sitting in this hot weather, breaking apart rock and trying to get the mica apart from whatever rock structure it's connected to. And they're just around this mica dust going into their respiratory system, just breathing all of this in all day long. And they're not getting hardly paid to do this. They make $3 a week as a family on average. For their entire family, they get half a cup of rice for their entire family to eat a day. They have to sleep where they're farming it because people will come and steal whatever they've farmed, whatever they've gotten out of the earth, and they'll steal it. It it's just shocking. And this is happening all day, every day, currently, right this second today, in parts of Africa and parts of India, all over the world. There's issues with this. And the only way that this is going to end is when companies start saying, I refuse to buy mica because I know I know that you have little children mining this. I know that you're not paying your employees. I know that they have horrible working conditions. I mean, it's not going to end until companies can step up and do that. And I'm a tiny little fish in such a great big world, and there are people spending so much more money than I am purchasing these mica. So it will continue until companies and their ability to participate. But I have chosen, even in this small little capacity that I have chosen not to participate in that kind of mica farming and sourcing. So we purchase ours from an ethical, very carefully sourced mica farm where they do not have child employees. They pay their people fair wages. They have a very standard way of doing it correctly. And we pay a lot more for it. And I'm totally fine with that, right? Like, I'm paying what should be paid for the labor that is being done. And I'm paying what should be paid. So I'm okay doing that. But I wish that there were other companies that maybe they're not aware of it. Maybe they don't know about it. Maybe they do and they still choose to do. I don't know. But I'm aware of it. And once I was aware of it, it was like, whoa, how do we not play into that train? How do we get ourselves as far away distanced from that as possible, right? So that's how we've decided to source our mica. And if there's people out there who want to talk more about that initiative, and it's proprietary, like, all of where we source exactly, but I can give them direction to how we found out ways to use the sustainably sourced mica farms and how we kind of went down that path. For anyone interested, you're welcome to reach out to me. But trying to determine, one, the ingredients, and then the next layer is, where do we get them from and what does that look like and how are they getting sourced, is a whole new world that I was opened up to that I didn't even know existed before all of this.
Yes. And I'm glad you went through that process and you're sharing that with us because, out of sight, out of mind. We don't, we think we're just looking at a list of ingredients that are good for us, but what about good for others? So, thank you.
And the earth and the world. And how are we contributing to the larger picture? And this isn't something that I really crossed my mind until 2020, when I was really starting to formulate. And it was like, what kind of footprint are we leaving, and am I leaving for my children? And it's a big conversation, but this is one of the ways that I'm really trying to stand by that thought.
I appreciate that. I think you're taking the responsibility of being a manufacturer very seriously and considering many audiences. Thank you.
No, thanks.
Beauty Seekers, for those of us interested in not slathering hidden chemicals on our largest organ, our skin, here's what Mrs. Sunscreen just taught us. Clean ingredients is a low bar in the US. Skip oxybenzone. The FDA found it soaks into your blood and it shows up in breast milk, and it's banned in Hawaii for harming coral reefs. Watch for, let's see if I can say this, butyloctyl salicylate, hiding in the inactive list. It's a chemical in sunscreen, which means it can absorb into your skin. And who wants anything to absorb into your skin? We want it to reflect the sun. And treat the word fragrance, which I thought was so beautiful, as a warning sign, because no one has to tell you what's in fragrance.
Well, thank you for summarizing everything so beautifully, because this is a really challenging conversation and category, and it's hard to make it simplified enough for people to want to pay attention to. So you're doing such a good job about that.
Thank you. Well, since we spoke, now I know zinc and titanium. So I can say those two words, and I understand now what mineral is, and it's a good thing. Beauty Seekers, subscribe to Beauty Seek for honest, evidence-based answers about the beauty products you put on your skin, straight from the experts like Mrs. Sunscreen. Coming up next, Bree shows us exactly how to read a sunscreen ingredients list so that we can be informed before we pay. And stay all the way to the end when we turn everything Mrs. Sunscreen is teaching us into a SAFE Sunscreen Scan. 4 simple questions you can ask yourself to know if your sun protection is truly protecting your skin in a healthy way or not. Stay with us.
I would say, as a general rule of thumb, if it has less than 15%, that is, I mean, even 15% is really pushing it. I've done formulation now and SPF testing for years, enough to tell you that if a product has less than 20%, I would be very suspicious. Less than 15, I wouldn't use it. But I would be very suspicious if it had less than 20% zinc.